Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara,
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
and we are here today to talk about P Valley. Today's episode is titled Snow, and this is season 2 episode. Is this 9 or 8?
9.
Okay, wow, it's 9 already. We only got like a few, like I think next week can be the last one. So
Yeah.
it's like, wow, it seemed like it went by so fast because I'm still like, that to be continued at the end of this episode. I was like, no, don't end here. Like, give me more because I was hooked. So I cannot wait to get started talking about this one. If you guys hang tight, we'll be right back in just a minute.
In the front row, kicking back old school tracks like damn. Can't get enough of this mo like I don't even know where I am. Ooh, baby, get hyped to the beat, let's go, cause this is our jam. This is our jam. Let's go.
All right, everyone, we are back. And like I said, we're talking P Valley. This season has really flown by and a lot has gone down. So this week, it's like, it really scared me because it was looking like Murder Night Part 2.
I said it last week.
You called that, yes. And so, I mean, so much is going on in Chucalissa. It opened up with Andre and this crazy campaign idea to involve the strippers and going out and helping him get, his polls, the numbers up in the polls. And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess strippers is a good way to catch people's attention.
Well, I
That
guess
was Autumn's idea.
I get ready to say that had to be Autumn's idea. I guess in
Mhm.
Chucalissa, I guess that's a way to get him because you saw what Miss Patrice
Patrice,
did.
yep,
She came in with her own poll.
Yeah, she sure did.
yep.
But you know what?
They told her to drop out the race, and now she's out here blowing their money in the streets.
Yeah,
I'm like that. Patrice is bold.
She
She is bold.
And I wonder how their campaign is going to fare because she has a lot of pull and people seem to respect her in the community. So I don't know if things are going to go the way they want them to go at the end of this race for mayor. But we know that there's a lot on the line too, which I'm kind of seeing alliances shifting around because we know Hailey is really in support of Andre. But Corbin is kind of playing both sides of the fence here.
Corbin showed me a side of him that I just wasn't expecting.
Corbin is a freak. Corbin is a freak.
Lord.
And it makes me want to know more about his history with Uncle Clifford.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. Yeah.
Because he mentioned that Cliff used to be the one that gave him the whippings in the Paradise Room. And so I guess that Cliff had stopped doing that for a while, but for old time's sake, and when you got 250K on the line, I mean, I take the whip too. You want to get whipped, I'll do it for 250.
That's a freak. I mean, that one took me. I had to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they was definitely showing a lot of skin this week.
And,
But I kind of do appreciate that a little bit too, because we don't just get the women all the time. We want something to see too every now and then. We don't need to see everything though. But
his back told everything. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so it was just I would have loved to have gotten more a backstory with it because I was really just taking off,
especially with the racial undertones of this show sometimes. I'm like, and especially since he's like the outcast of that family and he has like the white siblings and he was, birthed by the mother. I think his mother might have been the maid or something like that, or the help in the family or whatever. So he's already the outcast of the family and he's the only one that's mixed. So I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that with the racial undertones and them being whipped and stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's something else there.
Yeah, yeah, it did kind of leave a stain on my thought process about our history, but nonetheless, we push forward.
But
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that the stripper campaign worked for him. I guess only in Chucalissa, because we know that Mississippi is like the Bible Belt.
Right.
Right.
In a
Right.
red state, the red is my blouse. So I was like, oh, so it did work. And I said maybe because Chucalissa is a small town and
Mhm.
he's running for mayor, not president. So
Yeah. And I mean, even at the grand opening where he goes on stage to like give the speech and everything, people seem to have received him pretty well.
mhm.
So I was like, I mean, I guess if it works, it works. And he
Hey,
got everybody in the room shot. So,
Yeah, but when Patrice started giving out that money, that's gonna be a hard thing to whip.
and
yeah.
the other crazy part this episode is like we seen Autumn running to the bathroom, throwing up, and I was like, here we go.
Oh my gracious! So
Here
Mhm.
we go.
that Andre's little happening?
Yeah,
Or-
well, yeah, of course. That's what she's been with. Yeah.
well, I mean, I'm thinking, but I'm like, okay,
She been in Chucalissa. There ain't been nobody else but Andre, at least that we've seen.
that's gonna be a problem, particularly what we saw a little later on in the.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And he offers her to he's trying to coax her to stay in Chucalissa, and maybe instead of selling the Pynk, he should lease it. And maybe that'll be a way to keep her there. So that, I mean, I wonder if she might take him up on that offer, since she is expecting. I don't think she would want to just skip town and leave her child fatherless. So
Mm-mm,
I don't know.
mm-mm.
I wonder if things are going to start changing around. And then of course we seen once they got back to his house, who was sitting there
Waiting for him.
waiting
Baby,
like,
baby's gonna change things, and that means that this is probably gonna be a divorce, probably be a contentious divorce.
very.
But I could see them hooking up, and maybe her, because if he becomes mayor, her being on his arm, being his first lady or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, whatever he had with his wife, I think is over. Well, it's pretty much over now that we know uh Hailey and her current position. But I think when they came in like that, and she saw the two of them together, great acting because her bottom lip started to quiver. So she was totally broken up. But I think she knows the story now. She's out of the picture.
Mm-hmm. And they both cheated. So
Yeah, and he said, well, yeah,
Brittany cheating,
that's-
Andre cheating.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, that's another good point that I actually had forgotten. So it's going to be interesting whether she tries to fight for her relationship or just let it go.
Wait, yeah, it's Chucalissa is used to some scandal now, so
Yes, indeed.
I don't know if it'll come as a surprise.
Mm.
And as everybody is prepping for this big reopening, we see that Mercedes is still having a lot of issues with her shoulder. Which Roulette didn't make it any better. That girl know how to pop off at the mouth.
Boy, oh boy.
She is disrespectful. I
Yeah.
mean,
That is
she
I
really
like
went in.
Roulette though. She knows how
I
to
like
sing.
Roulette too. She brings a lot of fire to the show. But
Right.
Mercedes, don't put some respect on her name. Mercedes is about to gather her though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't want to mess with Mercedes because Mercedes, she's got that build. She looked like she's ready to take on the world.
Mhm.
But Roulette, she can start a campfire in a minute, man.
Oh.
Yeah. And of course, Keyshawn's presence is threatening too to all. I mean, because she really is the headliner. She's the one that's attracting all the people, and especially as they're operating at 50% capacity. So it's like all this jealousy and tension in the air, which you've heard that about strip clubs, that they can be a very catty type place. And so I guess like we're kind of getting a glimpse into that and how it happens. And I kind of felt really bad for Mercedes because I know that it's discouraging as somebody who was like previously the headliner, somebody who really used to bring in all the money, to not really have a backup plan due to an injury. Like she had her dream stolen from her by her mom, and then now she can't even work in her normal capacities to support herself. So I just thought that was interesting. I wondered if the photos that were in the gallery that Farrah had, if she's going to get any compensation from that.
Well,
I think so. I definitely think so. Especially judging from the trailer for next week with the conversation with Farrah. And I think the photos were very necessary because yes, Mercedes had an injury, but a lot of it now is mental.
Yeah,
And I think once she gets past that part, because the photos were necessary to reassure her that she's still a legend.
Yeah.
yeah,
And Murder's words at the end of the episode, I don't want to skip too far, but Murder reassured her too. Like, he gave her some very encouraging words, letting her know, like, you are a legend.
right.
So,
And I love the gallery because she saw such a different aspect of her. And so, and that can help her develop too. Um, I think she's in a good place. I think I love the fact that Uncle Clifford told her the truth outside. It's maybe time for you to start thinking about doing something else. Because you can age out of most. I look at pole dancing like a sport. You can age out of most sports, and particularly when and she looks like she's got a lot of muscle and she's thick. So some of the things that she might have been able to do when she may have been a little smaller, and not. And I say that because when you saw her upside down on the pole, that weight started coming down on her. Not to mention with that shoulder.
Muscle does way more though.
Yeah, muscle
does way more.
And so when you're that, and she's very muscular, so maybe it's time for her to do something else. And
she said she's 30 too, so
And
and
30,
30 is very young, but in sports,
yeah,
that could be game changing. And and every great had to walk away.
every great.
And that's what I
Jordan,
think
Kobe,
it is for her. She wants to go on her own terms, and I think that's what it is. She doesn't want to have to be forced out of a situation,
right?
And so I think that's what's really bothering her at the root of it. And I thought it was funny too how Farrah also slipped that little comment in, like, can we get it in again? I was like,
yeah, Mercedes,
but going out on your own terms is actually the way to go. But sometimes you don't have it. I like your old coach, football coach, Tiffany, Dick Vermeil. He was he was a gentleman's gentleman, a crier. I love the way he took care of Philadelphia Eagles, and then when he moved on to Kansas City, and when he moved on to
you're thinking about no, you're not Dick Vermeil.
Yeah, Dick Vermeil. When he went over to St. Louis Rams and he won the championship, because he was with the Eagles in 83.
Okay.
And then he went over, 14 years later, he winds up over in St. Louis, and they actually win a Super Bowl. And then they win on Sunday, he quits on Tuesday. So, but that's going out on your own terms. But sometimes you just don't have that ability to do so. However, I think if Mercedes really takes a look at it, you are going out on your own terms, because nobody has to see you struggling like you are now. They remember you as the great. So
I think that they do still though. I think that a lot of what Mercedes has going on is, like you said, in her head, because she sees herself as not being great as she once was. She sees herself as not being able to move the same way she used to. But in other people's eyes, like even at the opening where she was talking to Maine, and he was like, "What you doing over here in the crowd? You're not up there on the pole or whatever." So he was like, in your day, like you were that chick, like you still got it. And so it's like everybody around her is reaffirming her, but she can't see it for herself.
Except Whisper and Roulette, because they were talking. Yeah, they're talking greasy. Like, last week Whisper said something like, it's like watching my grandfather try to put on the Wi-Fi. And what's her name in Roulette is continuously disrespected.
Look, Roulette is a trip, because after this chick Toy tries to come back up in the Pynk, and Cliff made it very known, like, you the one that got grandmother sick with COVID, so you got to get up out of here. And she's high and dry right now. She's about to get evicted. Her car about to get repoed, and she has no income. And here comes Roulette, and I'm like, okay, is she the pimp now? Because
pretty much. She pimping them. Yeah.
She gave Toy a role, and she said,
not paid.
"This is not a gift. You're gonna work for this.
This is work."
I was like, wow. I mean, she really bossed up. She came with the new threads, had a new chain on and everything. So we see where that money got spent.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta see what happens though with her, because like I still think there's gonna be consequences for that stuff with Terrence last week.
Worried, and I'm scared that Duffy gonna be the one that gets caught up in it as well, because he is really feeling her, quite literally. But yeah, that situation, it's always gonna be some collateral damage there. And so people that are not aware of what roulette is into need to be careful with aligning themselves with her, because she got some mess.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. And so let's talk about this grand opening, because as you know, things are heating up at the Pynk. It's announced that, you know, Lil Murda and Tina Snow are both going to be there to kick off their tour at the Pynk. And of course, the club is already at 50% capacity, and they convinced, you know, the inspector to up it a little bit to 75 if she can get with Big L. And I was like, not them kind of pawning Big L off on her.
Big L, he didn't like that too much though.
Yeah, Lauren is a trip.
Yeah.
But they do allow 75% capacity, but people are already in line complaining about the price to get in, and then the long wait. So it's at capacity. I mean, it's a full house. And of course, you had, you know, Andre there doing his campaign stuff. So it was really lit. And as Keyshawn comes on stage to perform, I mean, she really lit the room up. And Megan Thee Stallion, who's alter ego Tina Snow, was coming in to perform. I mean, she lit the show up with Murda too.
Yes, she
but
did.
Before they even got on stage, we got to talk about how she was in there pushing up on Murda, flirting, and Cliff had to politely check her, put her place.
He snatched that bottle. She was driving the boat no more.
Yeah, but look, she took her place back real quick though, didn't she? You know, so I guess she realized what was going on and what's at stake. So
you know, it kind of hurt my heart though, because you know that Cliff ultimately does not want to feel like you're hiding our relationship, you know, him and Murda. And it's only so much Murda can do in terms of letting people know that they're involved without, you know, because he did kind of wink at them, you know, as he was performing. So I was like, oh, that was cute.
Yeah.
But
he showed love. I was like, okay.
Yeah, in small ways, but I don't know if that's gonna be enough long term, because even early in the episode, they were sitting at the table talking, and Cliff, it seems like he's accepting the fact that Murda is going to move on without him.
Yeah, because he said that. You know, he said, you know, he's come to terms with this isn't going very far. It's going to, you know, it has its, you know, expiration date. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's good for Uncle Clifford, so that he can get it in his, you know, and it seems like he's coming to grips with it. And
I think it's just hard to come to grips with it. Like, you know, the reality yourself, but then you have somebody like Murda saying, no, it's not going to be like that. And so you try to, like, you want to believe what your partner has to say, but in your heart of hearts, you know what the real deal is.
Yeah, I know.
Regardless of what they're saying.
I know I've had a relationship like that. You know, I can recall very vividly, and it stays with you. But I think that once you get to term that this is where it is and it's not going any farther.
Yeah.
Because as Big Murda now, you know.
Right, Big Murda.
Big Murda, as he gets up, you know, goes higher up, it's going to be very difficult. And I think Uncle Clifford also sees the complexity in trying to weed himself into that relationship at this particular point in time in his life. So it looks like there's some, you know, full mental thought going on.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. Especially once things really start popping off in the crowd, you know, Maine and his crew, you know, getting into a fight that sends everybody into chaos. And so then Murda gets involved and he's fighting people, and Diamond has to go up on stage and rescue Keyshawn, which of course we're gonna talk about that in a second. But I want to finish up this whole Murda situation. Because after the big brawl, Cliff and Murda kind of in the back talking and Murder is going off talking about he want to kill everybody, and I was like, hold up now, you just body last week. So Cliff really tried to do his best to calm Murder down, and so it's so interesting to me how when you really love somebody, and regardless of the fact that you probably won't work in a relationship, Cliff is still so compassionate and so giving of himself that he was really there for Murder in that moment. And I just appreciate like how I guess compassionate Cliff is. Yes. And you can see that there's like a real love there.
Mm-hmm. When I saw the crew in the line and I saw that blue and yellow, I knew it was gonna be a problem. And I was like, grand opening
did not help at all either.
Exactly. And she's hyping them up, saying that she knows that Murder's behind it. And that's why I said I'm afraid for Murder. Like I'm afraid that something might happen in this season finale because they think he's behind Pico's death. He is, but they're gonna try to avenge it, and I'm afraid somebody might get hurt next week.
Yeah, and especially once you hear that they're actually trying to reopen the club again after that big brawl, because like after they had gotten everything cleared and they sent Diamond out to control the crowd, but it sounded like they were inviting people back into the club and like, leave your guns in the car or whatever. So I'm like, after all of this nonsense goes down, you're still going to welcome people back into the club 20 minutes later? That's why I'm like, it's about
because they got kicked out. They figured they kicked out the bad apples so they can keep partying.
But we seen Sis putting the battery in they back out in the parking lot, and so just inviting that bad energy back in, it was like y'all probably should have just called it a night.
And unfortunate for Uncle Clifford, but I think he's beginning to see the fall of the Pynk, the rise and fall, and we're at a point now where the things he can't even control, and I think a lot of that has to do with how he feels about Big Murder, Big Murder moving on. He can't control the Pynk. If I were Uncle Clifford, I'd probably try to go back to Hailey and try to work something out.
I think Big L was telling him facts and telling her facts rather. But I think that Uncle Clifford, she got $250,000 from Corbin, and I think that she's gonna find a way to still come out on top and go head to head with Hailey. I do. I think because now she's getting some money.
Yeah, she's got a little money. And 200.
Look, who knows? Murder might help with some money.
Look, and I told you that Corbin was playing both sides of the fence. So, I feel like this is gonna work, and especially if Hailey decides that instead of selling, I want to lease. Like that might make the situation even
easier,
better. Yeah, and so I'm like, it's a lot that could go down here, and I really appreciated how Big L was going to bat for Uncle Clifford and really trying to show you are letting this slip through your hands. You're giving this Hailey chick too much power. And he was really trying to help him see that there's more control in your hands than what you are seeing at the moment. You have to really see things in a different perspective. And so the fact that Clifford fired Big L in the end, I was a little upset, but I understood because you don't want somebody bringing drugs to your club when it's already under fire.
And he already told me, he said, don't bring that plug in my house.
She made it clear to that she didn't want that.
Right.
I completely get that. But I was just like, dang, Big L really is going to bat, trying to help.
Big L was trying to help though. He was trying to help.
But at the same token, if that club had got raided,
it would have been over. Yeah.
Over. And Uncle Clifford would have gone to jail because they would, you're the owner. You would not expect, the police wouldn't think that Uncle Clifford didn't have anything to do with those drugs. Exactly. And you can't do that, Big L. I mean, I understand what you were trying to do, but then really my question is, were you really trying to help? Because if Uncle Clifford didn't know, then that means whatever income you were getting from that, you obviously wasn't sharing with Uncle Clifford. So, 6 of one, half a dozen and another.
That's a good point. Good point there. So I don't know. I just really hope they can work it out because I do like their friendship.
Me too.
I do too. And that's why I think they'll find their way back to each other. I think because immediately after it happened, Uncle Clifford tried to go after
Right, ran back to the door.
And so I think that they will make up.
Yeah.
I hope so, but I don't know how stuck Miguel is to that drug life. If he's really stuck to it, the Pynk was a great place to run your delivery, system. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I hope they get it together. And it seemed like it was like, I don't know if it was good news or bad news when the hospital called, but it seemed like there was an update on grandmother, and I'm hoping that it's good news. So we still holding out hope for grandma.
I know.
It's been a while. We've been going through this for 3 episodes now, trying to figure out what the outcome is going to be.
I saw Uncle Cliff crying in the trailer next week, and I'm like, uh-oh. Oh. I was like, uh-oh, does this mean that she's gone? I hope not, but I'm thinking.
Clifford was preparing herself for that too, where at the beginning of the episode, it's talking about preparing to be alone, and that's alone with no grandmother and alone with murder gone as well. So it's like, I really feel for Clifford in this state of where things are with so much going on. And we brought up Keyshawn a little bit, so let's talk about Miss Keyshawn. Because it seemed like everything is kind of lined up with the passports and everything to get her and the babies out of town. And of course, she's worried about leaving. She's worried about Clifford and all the people at the Pynk if Hailey sells it. And so there's also this tension that's going on with Diamond, where she runs into him in the kitchen and she's trying to fill her water bottle up, but she talked and she seemed to hint that she's ready to run away, because she talked about Rapunzel. Basically, her hair was long enough to escape the tower now. And so
she's got a problem with Big Bone. That's gonna
that part. I was about to go there.
She does have a problem.
Because Big Bone got attitude and she can see the attraction between Diamond and Keyshawn.
Well,
she knew that from jump, because he couldn't even look her in the eye the first time they got together. So he has feelings for her, but Keyshawn is the one, and I'm shipping them. I like them together.
Me too. And Big Bone gave her some words in the hallway too. Like, I'm glad you leaving. Talking up like just real greasy to her, and so it was like all this attitude when Keyshawn really hadn't done much at that point yet besides show up. But once Big Bone seen, Keyshawn kiss Diamond, it's over.
Yes,
and so I'm worried because she was out in that parking lot scrolling through them pictures, and she had that picture of, her and Diamond laid up, but he had Montavious' ring, on his chest. And so I'm like, this is shaping up to be right on track with our predictions.
Did you see she was getting ready to send that picture to somebody?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's an op. And then number 2, she also overheard Keyshawn's plans. So I'm like, is she gonna do something petty? Like, is she gonna go find Derek? Is she gonna tell Derek? Like, is she gonna let it slip to somebody? And so Keyshawn's plans are getting ready to be ruined.
Yeah,
because this chick is a hater. And and my fear is, I saw that trailer, and in the trailer, Keyshawn, like, she was screaming, and I was like, oh my gosh, please, 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 writers, don't do this to me. Please don't let her go to get up out of here, and Derek has done something to them babies. I really hope it doesn't go that route, but I really do think that Derek is going to be tipped off that she's trying to leave.
Well, they did say this week too that Derek got the job for the one he went to the interview for.
Right.
So I'm wondering, I hope it don't come to anybody getting hurt or killed.
I hope not either. But I think
maybe Derek is just at work or something, and it really does work. I hope. I don't know.
I don't think her plan gonna work. I think somebody, what's her name, is a hater. I think somebody he's gonna be tipped off, and he's gonna foil the plans. What I really hope that nothing happens to the kids.
But
and I hope that
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
No, I just say I just hope that that she ends up taking care of Derek herself and saving herself.
What troubles me with Keyshawn is that she seems to be very disoriented in the sense of do I stay? Do I go? I mean, she's planning to go, but then she's got this, she's headlining with the Pynk, and she sees that money coming in. You need to move and move quick, sweetheart. You don't have a lot.
That was the plan. She was gonna go. She was the money.
I do think she is a little emotionally bonded to the Pynk.
That's my point.
She was writing,
right.
her message onto the mirror with the lipstick, and Cliff kind of talked to her and was like, "Leave and don't come back." And
I hope she does. She just seems like she's got a lot to unpackage and before she actually leaves. And you don't have time because there's a warring fashion now on your head, and Big Bone is a big part of it. And we can't trust her, and I don't know if Diamond can protect her. So because and even with Diamond seems to be a little bit twixt in between it, because even after the kiss, as he walked away, he had a look of what just happened, and
he was shook.
No, yeah, and so I don't know how much he feels about Big Bone, but that's just not a good mix.
I think it was a lot at one time, because it was a lot going on. He was trying to do his job and break things up. The girl of his dreams finally kissed him, and then he came to his senses like, wait a minute, I'm involved with somebody too. So it's a lot. I think it was just a lot to process at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that little mention that Uncle Clifford had of Diamond saying, to Lil Murder, if you need security out on your tour, I can send Diamond out with you. And we was like, don't send Diamond.
No, and he said,
he was after Murder's neck, and I don't need Diamond getting caught up.
No, but she changed that quick, because she was like, no, we ain't sending his fine butterscotch hat. And I don't blame you. Yeah. I don't blame her. I was like, no, Diamond is fine. Don't say it.
Diamond at the Pynk. So yeah, it's a lot going on. I just hope that everybody comes out alive at the end of the season. It's so many things that can go wrong. And I was thinking too, because like towards the end of the episode where Murder and Mercedes are sitting down talking, and Murder kind of asked Mercedes to listen to some of his new music and give her opinion. The song that he made sounded like it was gonna be some mess. I mean, he sounded like he talking about the situation that we happened last week with Pico and all them. And if that song gets played once everybody is let back into that club, I'm really hoping it ain't no mess. And I'm hoping Mercedes will listen to that song and realize what, put two and two together and say like, no, maybe she's going to be the one who intervenes in this feud between, Maine and Murder. I'm hoping, because she's the connecting glue between the two of them.
Yeah, or maybe she'll be in the middle, because listen, she it looks like she and Maine are going to be getting closer, and one of the things that Katori said, Katori like tweets a lot and gives a lot of background on the show, and one of the things she said about Maine is that he's always been Mercedes' hood therapist. So I'm wondering, like, as they get closer and they start, dating or whatever, and if Murder becomes more accepting or willing to come out with Uncle Clifford, if that, Mercedes and Uncle Clifford are tight, I wonder if there'll be some friction between the two because of their booze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I really hope that Mercedes will be an intervening factor in between that mess.
I hope so too.
Because Mercedes does have a lot of influence over Maine. She stopped him from going out with his crew last week. So I'm hoping that she can intervene if something else is to go down, because next week is, I believe, the season finale.
It is.
And so, it's got to go, something's got to go down. It's got to be some big moment. And I'm just trying to figure out from which angle it's going to come.
I don't think she can stop him. Yeah, I don't think Mercedes can stop Maine, because actually, Maine is going to pass it down to his soldiers, and everybody's already upset, and they, once they think that you're involved, that's all they need. They don't need any proof. So, it's going. Man, I can't wait for next week, because I'm really hoping that Big Murder survives. And I can't see you writing him out just yet, but it ain't looking good.
I know.
It might be. I'm hoping that at most it'll be some arrests. I'm hoping no deaths.
I think you'll get shot maybe, but not
die. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm worried for Duffy and them because messing with roulette, I think there's gonna be some consequences, either roulette or whisper, you know, or even toy. There's gonna be some consequences behind that term.
Because parents might show up at the second half of that.
Yeah, as I said, it's going to be some drama.
Yeah.
And one of them might not survive.
Yeah.
And I really want to see which way Uncle Clifford turns if he does get the word that Grandma has passed on.
That's gonna be devastating.
It will be, and it'll be very interesting to find out just what he does and what happens to him mentally too.
But Grandma, it seems like she's really fighting to stay here. Like she keeps saying,
she's fighting. She is fighting.
And like she's trying to fight off the visions of her daughter, not knowing that she's actually fighting a nurse. But
it's not a good scene either.
It's not. When you seeing dead people, you know, that's not usually a good sign. So
But you know what? And maybe they might surprise us because I think we are expecting her to die. So you know, so maybe they might surprise us.
That would be a surprise.
But I do really want to see Uncle Clifford step into being like the boss chick, you know, like just owning that energy and being kind of like everything that Big L was kind of describing, like own up and step into your power. So I really want to see that. And I hope it goes well because this whole show, P Valley, is centered around the Pynk. We can't have no P Valley without the Pynk. So
that's why I think something's gonna happen to save the Pynk. But Big L was talking about killing Autumn though.
So
and you know,
desperate times, desperate measures.
That might sound like a plan. You know, I mean,
Lord.
Well, I mean, look, you know how I feel about Autumn, but if she still has plans for selling the place, which obviously is going to be devastating to Uncle Clifford and Big L, because like you said earlier, I don't think they're through with Big L. I just think they had a beef and they'll get over it. But you know, Big L, we don't know what Big L might do. You know, we know that he can be very secretive. So I have no idea what he may put into motion.
Well, hopefully, what's her name will take
then because she's with child. So
yeah, I was great to say.
Yeah.
And if there's any truth to what Whisper is saying, with children. And so I'm thinking that because now that she's with child, she might rethink what Andre had to say about Lisa, and maybe she'll consider that.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm hoping so.
And stay around, because I really think that now she lost one child and she wants to be a mother again. Yeah. And I think that even though, she's an opportunist and stuff, I think that what she feels for Andre is real.
Yes.
I do. I think they have feelings for each other.
No doubt. I mean, I'm not going to be that blind to say I don't see any correlation between with the two in terms of love and interest, rather. Just as for me, for Hailey, she's just so set on being Hailey, and she can disappear at a moment's notice.
Well, being a mother again might settle her down.
It might. Right. That might.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think that is a game changer.
But I think in order to set that in motion, Andre has to leave his wife, and I'm not too certain if he's actually ready to do that.
I think he is. I think
he is too. Because the thing is, he's running for mayor in Chucalissa, and his wife is a doctor in Atlanta. Like, first of all, he's already living his life separate and apart from her.
Well, I hope he does it after he becomes mayor, because Bible Belts don't like divorce. So
no, they don't.
So it would behoove them, if he's going to make that move, you better make it after you get the mayoral candidacy. So I mean, position.
After he wins, right?
After he wins, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Something tells me there might be an upset in that candidacy. I mean, that election for mayor. I don't know. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what next week holds. I think we have so many different storylines that could go a multitude of ways. So, I mean, I think that the writers have done a really good job with keeping us on our toes and not being so like predictable to the point where we know what's going to happen.
Yep.
I can truly say I don't know which way it's going to
go. Right.
So I'm looking forward to that. I know we also have a lot of good stuff coming up. So if you are not subscribed to this channel already, then you need to be, because we got some goodies up our sleeves. So all I'm gonna say is make sure that notification bell is on, because you're gonna want to watch this stuff we got coming.
Yes.
Yep.
Also, make sure you guys drop down in the comment section and let us know your thoughts on this episode. Let us know your predictions for the season finale. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media accounts at Real Talk. You guys got anything else you want to add? I'll say, if you have not already seen our interview with the character that played Big T, John Clarence Stewart, that interview was so phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out, you need to go and look at it right now. He really did that. That's all I can say.
It was an amazing conversation. It was incredible.
So,
and even if you're not a fan of This Is Us, check out the roundtable with Christiana Hooks. That was a very
yes. That was another amazing conversation.
Definitely check it out. Please.
Yes, we've had a lot of good content, so y'all need to go ahead and check it out, and stay tuned in for what we got coming.
Yeah.
If you guys don't have anything else to add, I think we will call it a night. Make sure you're back here next week, same time, same place, so we can talk about the season finale of P-Valley. So thanks again for watching, and have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Riding to the top, started from the floor. How we got up here, you don't need to know. Sniffing on an M, I need one of those. Sniffing on an M like I got a cold. Need to know, nah, you don't need to know. Need to know, nah, you don't need to know. How we got up here, you don't need to know. Hit me, but I keep you on a need to know. Came up from the bottom, started from the floor. Working 10